Okay, hi everybody. How are you doing? I hope you enjoyed your personal learning network activity. At this point, most of you have finished it and I've graded it and sent it back to you. So if you have not received a grade from that from me, you should let me know right away, email me. Um, and I just wanted to go over a little bit of what I saw in those learning networks, some things to think about when you're thinking about your network, and then just a little bit about this first graded speech that's coming up here. Um, okay, so one of the things that I saw, I'm just checking my notes, um, is the difference, or that I wanted to have you think about, I guess, a little bit, is the differences in the context of your activities. What are the different contexts of activities you do, and how your communication tools and the suite of tools that you use at any particular time are dependent on that context. Okay, and they change, so that in one setting you might use Google Classroom mostly. In the other setting, you might use, maybe you're bird watching, so it's face to face with a friend and binoculars so that you can see farther to see the birds, right? So the settings change. And so I think is important to think about is how what we like to use in a certain setting impacts the people that we can engage with in that setting. So like me personally, I really don't like using the telephone very much. So it impacts who I engage with. There are particularly people that are older than myself, like the phone a lot. And so I don't engage with them very often because they don't use those same channels that I use under the same context. Um, so the thing to consider with this, in addition, the thing to consider with this is that when we have strong interpersonal communication, and we talked a little bit about in past videos about that base communication unit, when we have good interpersonal communication going on, it's often because the context of our communication and the tools we use in that context align with the norms or expectations of the other that we're trying to converse with. And so that's a really key thing to think about when you look at your own personal learning network, is like, oh, okay, how does this line up with the people that I interact with in the world? And if I know my personal learning network, my personal communication preferences, are there changes I can make in different circumstances to get to have a stronger interpersonal relationship with somebody, for whatever that is, to get ahead in work, to whatever, family relationships, whatever. Just thinking about how your network aligns with others. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to go over with the personal learning network. And then I just want to talk real briefly about the first graded speech that's coming up. I don't want you to stress about this too much. We have 3 of these. They're going to change. You're going to improve as you go through them. You've done 2 videos already. So this one is just a little bit more formalized with that structure that I talked about in the last presentation. That's kind of the classic beginning, middle, end, 5-paragraph essay format. So that's kind of the gist of that. You're going to record it just like you have been recording it, with special thought to your background and lighting. Like this one is just a little light that I have. I think that it looks better and more dramatic if I have side lights, so you might pay attention more, so I put it like that. I could have it like that, and then this lighting back here really dominates because it's the way the camera is exposed. So, think a little bit about that. Most of you, almost everybody I saw, adapted a little bit from the first sort of informal speech that you did to the second one. So the third one, just take that a little bit further. You have to work with what you have around you, and that's fine, Okay. Uh, oh, I think that's it for the first speech. After this first speech, we've been spending a lot of time in the beginning of this semester thinking about ourselves, how we as individuals communicate. We're going to start expanding out a little more and looking at how others communicate and how we communicate with them. Um, Part of that is that after this speech, you and I are going to meet and talk about the speech in real time through Zoom. Um, and so after this speech, you'll get face-to-face feedback rather than the sort of online feedback you've been getting. And that's kind of a pattern we'll set throughout the course. We'll change the ways you and I interact and the way you interact with the classroom, with the rest of the class, which has been minimal so far, but it's going to start becoming more, based on the things that we're thinking about and talking about in the class. So we've been doing a lot of individual reflection. So that's the ways we've been interacting. Now we're going to broaden it out a little bit. Okay, I look forward to watching your speeches. Oh, I still need to get you all some feedback on how you're going to do your peer reviews, and I'll be doing that later this afternoon or first thing in the morning. But the key is just make sure that when you upload your video onto Google this time around, that you give permission for all UA people in the UA system with the link to have access. And we'll get more into that, or I'll get more into that with an announcement here shortly. All right, take care and have fun with the recordings.